Neil Battaglia here, neilland.com. Here's a video about graphing circles by hand. Here's a circle. We've basically got the center and 4 points. We draw a circle. Here's another one. We have the center and 4 points, and we sketch the circle. This is really more sketching because it's a little bit rough. If you want to be more accurate, you can be. Just probably take more points, use graphing paper, or realistically use a computer to get more accurate. I was talking the other day with a student who's doing problems involving circles, and they're having trouble with it. So basically, it's not too hard to find the center, but then from there, how to graph it was the question. Here's the first attempt. So you can see that it has the right center, but the radius isn't very accurate. And here the center is more in the center, but it's at a diagonal line. It's maybe not the easiest way to graph it. All right, here's an equation for a circle. X squared plus y squared equals 4. Let's start with the right side, the 4. That's going to be the radius squared. So we've got x squared plus y squared equals 4. We take the square root of 4 to get 2. And we get the positive version because a positive number makes more sense as a radius. So the radius is equal to 2. Got x squared plus y squared again equals 4. Now what you can do is you can plug in points to get the edge of the circle. So you've got x and y. I could plug in 0. The number that you have to put in for y to get 4 on the right side is going to be 2. If I plug in 0 for y, then the number I have to plug in for x has to be 2. And another number that works is root 2 and root 2. So now we've got 1 point, another point, and the third point. And what we have is basically a quarter of a circle. If you didn't realize the equation was a circle, you'd probably want more points. But if you do realize it is a circle, then you can probably just use these 3 points and sketch it. So there's the quarter, here's another quarter, and the bottom half really. All right, now here's something that looks slightly different. I'm going to say x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 4. And 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 again is 0. This is really the same thing as x squared plus y squared equals 4. I just wrote it slightly differently because x minus 0 is x, y minus 0 is y. So the center is going to be 0, 0. If we had something a little bit more complicated, x minus 1 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 4, then you plug in the thing into the parentheses that gives you 0. So 1 minus 1 is 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. So our center is going to use those two numbers. So 1, 2 is the center. Now let's say we have x plus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 4. The number you have to plug in for x is a negative number. It's negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. And then negative 3 plus 3 is 0. So the center is going to be negative 2, negative 3. Another one, let's say we have x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 4. And I'm using 4 consistently so far for the radius squared. It could be other numbers as well. So you can plug in negative 2 for x, negative 2 plus 2 is 0. You can plug in 3 for y, 3 minus 3 is 0. So our center is negative 2, 3. Just a few examples getting you comfortable finding the center of the circle from the equation. Let's say we have x squared plus y squared equals 4, which is what we started with. You can just plug in 0 for x. You can just plug in 0 for y, and you get 0 for those places. So the center is going to be 0, 0. If we have x minus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 9, let's start with the 9 because it's a little bit different. Take the square root of it. The square root of 9 is 3, so the radius is 3. And then you plug in 3 for x, 3 minus 3 is 0. You plug in negative 2 for y, negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So our center is 3, negative 2. We'll first plot the center of the circle. So use the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate. And now we're going to go over to the right 3 because the radius is 3. The radius is the distance from the center to the edge. And we're going to go to the left 3 because that's also the distance from the center to the edge. So 1 point 2 points. Now we're going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go down 3 from the center, 1, 2, 3. And then we can kind of sketch in the quarters of a circle. So 1 quarter, another quarter, another quarter, another quarter. If it's not absolutely accurate, it's okay, but you want it to be fairly accurate. So probably about what I did is reasonable enough to be useful. So basically the process is you maybe start with the right side of the equation if you just have a number on the right side. And this is also assuming that the equations are in this form. If they're not in this form, you might want to get them in this form, which might need some modification. You might need to complete the square or do something like that. But if it looks like this, start with the right side, take the square root, that gives you the radius, then look at the numbers you have to plug in for x and y to get 0 in those sets of parentheses. And that's going to be your center. You've got your x coordinate and your y coordinate. Put the center on your graph, then go to the right 3 in this. Put the center in your graph, then go to the right, the number of units of the radius, go to the left, the number of units of the radius, go up that same number, go down that same number, then sketch them out as a circle. Let me know if you have questions about this or about something that's related to this.